Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson. We have severe thunderstorms working their way through the nation's midsection and spreading from Dallas all the way up into the Columbus, Ohio area. Well, we have severe thunderstorm watches. We have tornado watches for a large portion of the area. Numerous tornado reports, large hail upwards of 4 inches in diameter, and a good old-fashioned winter storm slamming the Rockies. We're going to get started with the very latest. First of all of the yellow that you see on this map as we get started, well, those are tornado watches, and we'll start up to the north where we have active tornado warnings as well. You see the little polygons or these little red areas here, those are tornado warnings. So as we look in on that Bern area and Geneva area, there's an active tornado warning for that. So we'll look at these a little more closely later, but you can see the firing of storms, severe thunderstorm warnings in the orange boxes as well. This line extends all the way southward as we get down into the Taylorville area here, Greenville area, as well as Jacksonville and Lincoln. In parts of central and southern Illinois, active tornado warnings continue and thunderstorm warnings. There have been reports as well of a lot of hail right here on the interstate corridor between the Lake St. Louis area, O'Fallon, 1 to 3 inch diameter, huge hail from those storms. As usual, I love to have you chime in with where you're watching from as we continue to take a quick look at what's going on across the nation. Now, we do have some thunderstorms that are blowing their way, and I mean blowing their way. We have thunderstorm warnings that are several counties in width here from this Boeing line segment. More linear, there's still a risk of very, very strong and gusty winds, straight line winds. And with this type of a setup, we're expecting straight line wind damage, and embedded tornadoes cannot be ruled out, particularly at this area here, right there. You see that? That's called the apex of the bow echo. That area is where it's most common to see some spin ups, but it could happen anywhere. Get down into the mountain home area here as we dive into, well, parts of southern Missouri, including Branson, where things are starting to quiet down now. But look at this, a very long line of windy thunderstorms working its way into that area. A severe thunderstorm warning for this very long line of storms there. Now, another area of activity spreading all the way down into Texas. You see the more red counties here. Those little colors indicate a severe thunderstorm watch from Ada and McAllister out there all the way up into the Fort Smith area of Arkansas. You're right on the line there in Fort Smith, where we do have that tornado watch adjacent to the severe thunderstorm watch for the area. Active severe thunderstorm warnings there as well. Now, these extend all the way back into Ardmore. And now you can see the train, right? This is a train of thunderstorms going over the same area, one after the other, following the other, following the other. So some intense rainfall amounts can be expected from these. Welcome in parts of Texas will be the rainfall with the drought-stricken areas there. We're going to take a close look at a few of these active thunderstorms right now, including in the St. Louis area, as well as up north, just south of Decatur. We have a tornado warning right now, but we're also going to check in on what's going on in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. This is showing blue, but folks, it isn't, or excuse me, green, but it isn't rain. This is some significant snow as we switch over to the winter mode on the radar. And most of the elevated terrain from Colorado Springs north and into the Denver metro area seeing snow. Castle Rock there on the south side of the metro area as you climb over the Palmer Ridge, heading over Monument Hill into Colorado Springs, seeing some abundant snowfall. Also, we have some heavier snow bands setting up once again from the Lochbuie area all the way through Fort Lupton, and that upslope machine is just continuing to trigger there. Now, a quick report for you folks in the Colorado area. If you're traveling I-70, if you're traveling I-80 through Cheyenne, there's some significant snow there. Check this out. Cheyenne is not in the warning. You get just outside of town in the foothills there, and that snow machine is taking off. And in the saddle on I-80, as you're traveling westbound or eastbound from Laramie, well, there's that little notch in the mountain range there that really causes the wind to drive. Check this out. This is snowfall reports from across the nation. We're going to go ahead and start with a look at this. Now, I'm going to zoom in, and you can see all of the reports of snow from the mountains of Montana here down into the Colorado Rockies. Let's start with the Montana area, where we see the red dots here would indicate 18 to 24 inches of snow. So good old-fashioned Red Lodge, where Hutch learned to ski when I was a kid growing up in the Billings area. Yeehaw, 18 inches of wintry and powdery goodness. How about at Burgess Junction out there, 16 inches for that area. Luther, Montana with a good 14 inches of snow. Now, in the Colorado Rockies, notice Wyoming as we get into the northern range here, 16 inches out there. That is at the Burgess Junction area. Now we get down south. Let's go in towards the Cheyenne area here in that saddle as you go in towards Laramie, and there are a few 18-inch reports there as well. So keep in mind, travel along I-80, windy in the elevated terrain. We definitely have some more lofty snowfall amounts. Okay, the redonky-donk snowfall amounts are all over the place. Let's get you right down into the Denver metro area here as we see. Now, on the eastern fringes at the lower elevations, just at DIA and the Front Range Airport as well, we've got snowfall amounts here of, it looks like 1.1 inches at DIA. Hey, that's not too bad, right? But the elevated terrain as you get up into the city and into the I-70 corridor going through Denver, the I-25 corridor going north-south, wow, the snowfall amounts ramp up. Now, checking out the southern suburbs on the eastern side, we have over a foot reported here at Hampton Avenue. That's not far from Cherry Creek Reservoir there. This is on the southeast metro side here. 14 inches reported. That's in town, folks. Terrible travel conditions on the south side of town. We got 18 inches reported in the hills out there as you're leaving town from Centennial and Point South. Now, getting into downtown Denver, right near the state capitol on Colfax Avenue, and well, the snowfall amounts there are reported to be 8 to 10 inches of snow. And then you get up near Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge out there, 19.5 inches. Golden, Colorado, not temperatures, but snowfall amounts really start ramping up here. Check this out on the mountain range right there in the foothills as you start going up out towards the Lookout Mountain area, 23.7 inches of snow. That's that's about 2 feet by Hutch's quick calculation. Now, I remember talking to you yesterday. I said there could be a chance for some 45-inch snowfall amounts. Check out some of the table measurements there. Aspen Springs, 45.5 inches. Echo Lake, 41 inches. 36 in Conifer. Aspen Park, 36 inches. Ooh, and Nederland picking up 35.5 inches of snow as well. Ward County picking up 33. So you can see the snowfall amounts really ramp up as we get into the mountains of Colorado. That is one heck of a storm taking place there. Continuing with the coverage of the winter weather out in Colorado, let's take a quick peek at some of the DOT cameras real fast for you, and then we'll get to the severe weather coverage in the Central Plains with a synopsis of what's going on out there with a look at the latest radar with the active tornado and thunderstorm warnings. Now, if you're coming into Colorado from I-76 on the west side, look at this. It looks very pleasant out there. I mean, maybe not pleasant, but just wet, right? It is not white. But as we zoom in and get into the metro area of the Denver area, let's go right into downtown Denver here. Here's Colfax as we look at it going through downtown. This is I-70 here, right next to the Empower Field out there at Mile High Stadium. You can see all of the white in town. Good thing is there I-25 and I-70 looking to be a little bit easier to travel on there. Now we get up into that golden area where we're talking about some of those 2-foot measurements out near Genesee. Let's take a look at some of the traffic cams there. Yeah, you can certainly see it looks less than fun, to say the least, to travel in the foothills just off to the west of Denver. Now, if you are down in the Colorado Springs area, keep this in mind. There are some very heavy snowfall reports in the mountains out here by Manitou Springs. We can see that the snow is laying on the side. The interstate, or the travel there, on Highway 24 looks to be a little better. Get into town and basically out on the east side by the airport out here, not far from Peterson Air Force Base, you can see there's even quite a bit of abundant snowfall there as well. So snow slamming the Colorado Rockies. Now let's take a look back at the radars. And what I'm going to do is turn off, if you give me just a moment here, I'll turn off some of the overload of information that's showing up on our maps here, and we'll get back to the radar coverage of what's going on right now. I will turn off the watch-based products if I can real quick. Off, and off. Okay, there we go. That should clean it up a little bit on that end. And now we'll go ahead and take a look just at the active severe thunderstorms. I will leave on the storm reports for you so we can keep track of where we have most recent storm reports. So let me flip that off and on as well. So here we go. Storm reports, and let's go with just in the last 3 hours. So that will minimize some of those reports. Again, hail has exceeded 3, even 4 inches in some areas, and we do have a number of tornado reports with active tornado warnings. Let's get you to the latest, and let's go on with the single site radar data here so I can pop around between the most active radars. Here we go as we slide back into the radar coverage. We're going to start on the northern fringe. Now we have some activity taking place as we look just to the south of Toledo and west of Toledo, south of South Bend, and we'll pop up a radar view here from near Plymouth. And as we look at Kokomo here, severe thunderstorm warning for this area. And these storms are moving off to the east right now, carrying a risk of some significant hail with this. So 2 3/4 inch hail possible from this cell as it works its way in. That is the main threat. And again, the environment is good with some spin and shear in the environment. We could see a tornado occur from a couple of these, particularly on these ones that are more isolated. This particular storm here, let me see if I can find a better radar. Let's try this one. It looks to be a little closer. That should be a little bit, well, the range on that one is a little shorter. So we'll try another radar. Let's go up here. Okay, here we go. Now I can see a little better. So the tornado warned storm, you can just see near the Nottingham area and also up here by Geneva and Burnt, this area. Look at the hail potential from this. Now, as we take a look at the National Weather Service warning, this is a radar indicated tornado. That means there's some shear recorded with it and 2-inch diameter hail potential. Then as we look at the cell that's near Nottingham, the hail potential in that a little bit smaller at 1 1/4 inch diameter hail from that particular cell. Going in on this storm here that's just not far from the J City area, just to the north. It'll be the north side here that has the hail threat, and get down on the southern side. This will be the inflow area, and that'll be the area of concern for the tornado. We'll put up velocity product here and show you where the rotation is. It's very clear to see where the greens and reds mesh up next to each other. Green is motion toward the radar, red motion away. So when they're side by side like that, that's spin or shear in the atmosphere. This is where the likely tornado indicated by Doppler radar is, just near J City, just south of Chattanooga in that particular area. Now the movement of the storm, as we take a look at that, you can certainly see as well. That's 30 frames. Let me put that down to just the last half hour or so we can just take a look. You see it's moving east, southeast. So it's moving in that general direction of Salina and in towards Coldwater at this time. Now, looking at the National Weather Service's text on this to get their latest measurement, they say moving east at 70 miles per hour. That is a fast mover. Can't outrun these kind of storms. You're better off seeking shelter in an interior room of a very sturdy structure. Let's get you a little bit of a measurement on where this system is moving and how fast. It does look like there's a little bit of a south of east tilt to this rotating part of the storm as well. Keep that in mind. 70 miles per hour. I'm going to put it at 75 miles per hour. And I've talked about this in some of my previous posts, but I estimate the speed a little higher. Here's why. There's a delay in broadcasting, whether you're watching a live here, but there's a delay in me getting the data and then sending it back out to you. I'm taking that into account. Scudder, it's going to be over your area right now. Durban right now, within the next minute or two. Now, if you're in Shively and out towards Salina, you got about 7 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes to seek shelter. Do that now. Now, the warning does not extend into your area out there by Salina at this particular time. The spinning part of this particular storm is just now at the county line, and my guess is the National Weather Service will update whether or not they're going to continue with the tornado warning. There's a lot of eyeballs on this storm. There's chasers out on these storms, but I can tell you that they're going to rely on information that you provide if you are a storm spotter as to whether or not this continues. But as far as what the radar is showing, there's still some spin with this particular storm. On towards Neptune by the time we get to about 10 to 12 minutes, and Villanova by the time we get to about 15 minutes from now. So mainly over some rural areas, but right now it's very close to the J City area, J City. All right, now as we slip off, I got to turn my measurement tool off there. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with this. See if we got some areas south of Decatur, moving up here towards the Ottawa area and Findlay. We have severe thunderstorms there. We'll go ahead and take a look at, well, not the measurement of the wind speed, but let's take a look at the severe thunderstorm warning here. for 1-inch hail from the storm that's heading in towards Findlay. That's no picnic either, but boy, some of these storms capable of 3-inch or more diameter hail certainly will really cause significant damage as they work their way through. These storms moving through places in Indiana and Illinois have a history here. If we look at some of these hail reports, they're in the triangles that you see right here near Decatur, 1-inch hail. Up towards Marion, just to the north of you, 1-inch hail, 1.5 inch up there by, it looks like Peru. Yes, Peru. So some large hail potential with these storms, and this storm heading towards the Lebanon area looks to be picking up in intensity a little bit on the reflectivity data as well. So strong storms in a tornado environment. What I mean by that is there's spin in the atmosphere. So we'll watch these very closely. Make sure that you have weather information handy and stay aware as storms approach your area anywhere in the Great Lakes area from Toledo, Ohio, south all the way to Texas. All right, let's get in on the St. Louis area. We do have active tornado warnings in this area too. I will pull up the latest radar here. Let's see if we can go to the St. Charles. A little bit far out for that. Let's go into this one here, and I'll look for better ones too as we go along. But let's start here. There has been some monster hail hitting just outside of St. Louis today in the last 3 hours. Look at all these triangles, and the numbers you see posted inside of those are indicative of exactly hail size reports that people are calling in. Lake St. Louis, 3-inch diameter hail, 2.5 inch near O'Fallon, 2 inches near O'Fallon. So a number of reports of significant hail. Now, the storm warnings, the tornado warning is for this storm. What a wicked looking storm this is. We have this backward shape here, the little bite taken out of the storm. There could be some spin right here. Just looking at the reflectivity data as a meteorologist, we're trained to look for areas where the spin might be. Now, on the north side of this, as you're looking at the Johannesburg area, you are in the tornado warning, but you're going to get whacked with some significant hail. Looking at what the hail potential is, nearly 2 inches in diameter. That's likely to be falling in and around I'm going to try to read this, Johannesburg area. As we look in on the storm down to the south near Oakdale, that's where the spin could be. Marissa, also, you see this little appendage just off to the west of you? That could also be an area of rotation. I'm going to put up the velocities here and see if I can locate for you the latest. And yes, right here, near the Lively Grove area, there is a little bit of weak spin there. And on the south side of this, there's some brighter red showing up there. So this active tornado warning is a radar indicated one. Let's take a look at what the Weather Service says. It's moving at 45 miles per hour to the east. And at 5:37, so about 9 minutes ago, it was located over that Lively Grove area, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So there it is, still in that general vicinity of Lively Grove. Moving off to the east at about 45 miles per hour, that's going to put it, let's see what the movement of the storm is. I'm going to reassess. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so we're going to put it almost due east, and it's moving at about, I'm going to put 49 miles per hour. Again, I overestimate the speed to accommodate for the delay in any broadcasting that's going on or any lag in maybe your viewing ability. Hey, if you're watching from the Northern Plains, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you with a quick synopsis of some of the coverage going on. This is in the St. Louis area, south of St. Louis, near Nashville. As we look in, this storm is going to be heading in towards Elkton within about 3 minutes and Cords within about 10 minutes, Kempside by around 10 to 15 minutes. To give you a little better view of the region impacted by this storm, we're talking about St. Louis on the left side of the screen, and this area here with the red box you see, that's called a polygon. That's the warned area, and that has the tornado on the south side of the storm, and it's moving east. That one is moving. Watching from Trail, Minnesota, Kim, good to have you on board. Thanks so very much. If you do like the video, I appreciate the likes on it. Pass along to friends. Let them know that old Hutch is covering some of this weather in the Central Plains as we take a look at what they are dealing with right here, right now, heading into St. Louis, a cluster of nasty storms. Now, there are some huge warnings in aerial size is what I'm talking about. These are often associated with some windy type of thunderstorms. So let me see if I can find a, well, let's go to the Springfield radar here. So if you're in the Springfield area, ooh, this is a beautiful radar. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. We do have some spin in this puppy down here. It's a long ways away from the radar. This is heading toward the Brandsville area as well as West Plains. See some red and green somewhat next to each other, but what it does look like to me, it's indicating some strong outflow. Let me put the reflectivity data back on here, and I'm going to get my pencil out. We're going to go white. We're going to go so you can see it good, and we're going to take a look at this line that I'm going to draw here. This is called a Boeing segment. This would mean west winds are going to be gusting out of this storm. So if you are in the line of this particular storm here, there is going to be a surge of wind coming from west to east, and it could be very strong. Now, this area right here, I'm going to put a star. This asterisk is the apex of that bow, and that is where some of the strongest straight line winds will be pushing out, burping out of this thunderstorm. Jessica, good to have you on here from Ogama. Great to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining. I love the likes, love the subscriptions as well. Now, that apex is likely showing that this line of storms here is becoming what we call linear, and wind is going to be the main threat. This is not just one thunderstorm. This is a line of dozens of thunderstorms that stretches for hundreds of miles. And in this area, we have reports of 70 mile per hour straight line wind gusts right here where I put my asterisk. See that 70 flag? That's 70 mile per hour wind gust, 60 mile per hour measured wind gusts there. Let's go ahead and click on it and see if I can load the, oh, I got the pencil on. Okay. So 60 and 70 mile per hour winds were reported in the Seymour, Missouri area, reported by the emergency manager, and it was a measured wind gust. So these backwards C shape here, that's called a Boeing line segment, and that is going to be one windy creature. Let me give you a couple of towns that are in the path of this. If you are in the Burnham area, if you are in Ironton, if you are in Ellington, prepare for some very, very strong wind potential from these particular storms. Now, getting on the south side, we're seeing darker red. A little bit of hail potential still in this storm moving in toward the Koshkonong area. If I said that right, I hope so. Brandsville as well, as these storms are sliding off to the east. This has more of a straight look to it, so the wind isn't as threatening with this segment as it is up north. And in fact, wind gusts here could still be 60 mile per hour, 1-inch diameter hail is what the National Weather Service has for their warning on that particular storm. Now, let's get down in here into parts of northern Arkansas. We're getting out of the Missouri area, out of Branson. The storms there are all but done. There was some reports of 1-inch hail in and around Branson, 60 mile per hour wind gusts there. And as I got a report from a good old faithful viewer, some sideways rain making its way down in the Branson area. These storms here are strong. There are a couple of severe ones as we get down towards Mulberry, also near Ozark, down here near Coe Hill and Clarksville. This area here seeing some very stout thunderstorm activity where we see the pinks on the radar. That's pretty strong. Let me get a closer radar here near Fort Smith. And now we should be able to see the details in these storms. Now, here's a couple things to keep in mind. You are in a tornado watch area. So pay attention to your local authorities, have weather information at your fingertips, because these storms here will be capable of tornadoes because of the environment they're in. The best chance will be these ones on the southern flank. I can't say no, you're not going to see a tornado out of any of these in the north, but these are the ones that are grabbing the inflow of that southeast wind into them, and there is some significant shear with that southeast flow mingling with what's going on in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. This storm right here near Fort Smith and approaching the Fort Coffee area has a notch out of it. I'm concerned about this one right now because it does look like to me it's starting to take on some spin characteristics. Let's look at velocity. Boom, you look in here, and I'm certain that there are a lot of folks up here watching this storm, and I'm certain they have storm chasers and people watching and observing the storm here. But there is a little bit of weak shear showing up with that particular storm on the south side, where you got some greens next to some reds. Let's go right to the base velocity product, because I like when these radars are looking right into the wind that's blowing in town. Do you see this bright white area here? Now, as a meteorologist, what we're looking at here is the flow of the air right into the beam of the radar. We can't measure the flow of the air if it's not moving into the white beam of the radar. So let's take a look at what these measurements are. It looks like the latest scan just came in. And, well, it disappeared a little bit. We're measuring winds as high as 40 to 50 miles per hour. And just one scan ago, if I can go back to one scan ago, there was some really ridiculous winds. Let's look at this one. What were the wind speeds here? Yeah, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. So the radar, the Doppler radar, can measure the wind that's blowing exactly towards the radar site here. And this little area has 50 mile per hour winds. Yes, that's off the ground. That can blend down, mix down to the surface, and be even higher than that in this storm. So this one's capable of some very stout winds. Those strong, strong winds are right near Fort Coffee. That's where we did see a little bit of an evidence of a bite taken out of the storm. So a dangerous storm with very gusty straight line wind potential, and some weak shear showing up with the radar on the latest scan. So we'll get you to the latest scan now. And that wind gust, that front that's blowing in towards the area, is just now approaching the western edges of Fort Smith. So the Pawpaw area and Arcoma, all of those areas, and even out towards the Fort Smith airport out there, they're starting to see the wind on the west side. You might even be seeing a cloud of dust and whatnot blowing into your area. Okay, these storms extend all the way down here, Denison, Texas, all the way up to your north. We have an active tornado warning. Let me get to a closer radar and we'll analyze this puppy. This one here, there we go. Turn off that. Okay, so let me find a more close Doppler radar to give us a little bit more information. Let's go to Oak City here and look at that one, and we'll also look at the Dallas-Fort Worth one and see if we can pull up some more details on this particular storm. This is a tornado warning. The tornado warned storm is right here near the Medill area. Medill, I'm not certain exact of the pronunciation, excuse me. We do have a tornado warning, radar indicated, and 2-inch diameter hail. Those are the main threats from this storm. Let's see the movement of it. National Weather Service has issued this for the Johnston County area, as well as Bryan and Marshall counties, as you can see, till 6:30 p.m., moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. Again, seek shelter from these dangerous storms as they're working their way in. It is right over the Medill or Medill area. And let me go ahead and pop up a look at the reflectivity. And now we'll switch over to the velocity, see if we can see the spin. Here's the difficulty. This one is a long, long, long ways away from the radar, and I'm not able to detect too much significant shear with this particular system. So let's look from the Fort Worth radar here, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and see if we can get a better view up into the belly of that storm. It's still going to be a long ways away. Oof, not a good view from that one either. So let's see if I got anything any better. That's one of the problems with this. Let's go Shreveport. That'll be a heck of a long ways away. Yeah, too far away to get much good information from that. So looking in from Dallas, let's look in from this radar site over here near Vernon. That might be the best one. Let's go here. Okay, so here we see the pinks. This is just pushing in towards Tishomingo. Okay, and that pink area is the hail risk and hail threat. And on the south side is Medill. And as we take a look at the velocity product here, let's see if we can see the rotation. It is right near the Medill area and points just south. It's a long ways from the radar, but that's where the radar is detecting that shear. So if you're in the path of this storm, again, moving to the east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour, we'll put that puppy up in this general direction. I'm going to overestimate the wind speed a little bit to act for the delay, and we're looking at BEE. It'll be in your area in around 14 to 15 minutes. Fort Washita, about 15 minutes from now, and on towards Emmett by around 15 to 20 minutes. So you have time to seek shelter in that interior room away from windows. This storm looks like we've got a report of some 1-inch hail in that area from this storm as well. So keep that in mind. Hail is going to be a threat more on the north side, more of the north side of Medill up there as we look at the reflectivities with the latest scan on this storm. The pink area here, that's where we have the big hail threat. The spin threat is right in this south area of the storm right here, and that continues as it moves off to the north and east. A strong thunderstorm capable of sizable hail. Looks like we got a 2-inch diameter hail report. That was done here by the Fire and Rescue Department there at about 5:24 as the storms blew over that area. I do want to point out that some of these storms are training down in southern parts of the southern extent of these storms. In other words, if I loops maybe a good hour or more of the radar data, what you're going to notice is that these storms just are forming in the same places where the other ones have left. So some significant rainfall totals will be possible with these training thunderstorms that we're seeing moving through. One rolls through and another one rolls through on almost the same track. So severe weather spreading all the way from the Great Lakes area just south of Toledo. We have active tornado warnings still in these areas. See, I'm not seeing tornado reports as of right now from those particular storms. That's good. I'm only showing storm reports for the last 3 hours. There were a lot of tornadoes reported earlier in the day from remnant storms from last night's activity that blew through the Kansas City metro area as well. So, severe thunderstorms from the southern plains of Texas all the way through Arkansas, Missouri, a line of very windy thunderstorms here. This block of warnings you see here for very gusty straight line wind type thunderstorms that are taking place in these areas as I put on a more composite national radar view here. So this backward C shape is a long line of very windy thunderstorms capable of 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts measured from that puppy as it's blowing its way eastward towards Farmington and the south side of St. Louis and the boot heel of Missouri. So Poplar Bluff to Cape Girardeau, you'll be seeing those storms. Up here near Union, we do have one tornado warning, New Haven. This is a radar indicated tornado and 1-inch diameter hail. And that storm is basically moving off to the northeast, at 50 miles per hour. And if we take a look at the, well, let's see if we can take a look at some more products on that. Reflectivity is good enough. We'll take a look at the movement of that storm. I don't want 30 frames. We'll pop that back down to 7 and roll. And we're going to see that movement is more northeasterly with this storm. So the rotating part of the storm moving in through that New Haven area as towards Washington. So if you are in Marthasville, and also New Haven now, you'll want to be seeking shelter in that interior room away from windows. A Doppler indicated tornado. Earlier storms moving through this area dumped 1.7-inch hail in the Herman area. We have 1.7-inch hail also being reported up north here near Wright City. So a lot of large hail producers moving up into the southern reaches of St. Louis, east of St. Louis, and all the way up into not far from Toledo in Cleveland. Severe storm risk in the Central Plains. Hello, Tammy. Thanks for joining. I'd love to have your likes. Just a real quick note, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here, go ahead and like it. You can subscribe to my channel right here. Don't forget to hit the little dingle bell next to the subscription button there. I'd love to have you subscribe. You'll get a notification when I'm covering. Oh, we do have a new tornado warning reported with this storm here, so we'll go ahead and continue a little bit of coverage. Emergency manager says structural damage on Skeels Road from a tornado cited by the fire department. The time was estimated. This was at 5:51, so 10 minutes ago. This, as I'm broadcasting, is 6:01 p.m. Central Daylight Time is the time we're on. So some structural damage reported from a tornado that touched down. As far as the crow flies, this looks like from I'll get the name right here. Just one moment. Let's see if I can. Oh, I got to turn on. Okay, so we'll turn this off and stop the scrolling. There we go. Now, let me see if I can measure the distance from Salina. The tornado was, as the crow flies, about 8.5 miles away to the northwest of Salina. So that's where there was a report of a tornado. That storm continues with the tornado warning. I'm going to pull up the single site radar data so we can look at the velocity in the products right now and see if that thing is still spinning like it was just 10 minutes ago. And it's kind of interesting to take a look at the velocity 10 minutes ago when the tornado was reported. So as the radar data comes up here, as I pick a radar site that's going to be close to the area, let's go with this one. Looks pretty good. All right, it's just on the edge. So now we can take a look at this storm. It does look like to me, here is the notch. Here is the area right through Salina is where that spin is going to be. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity product. Base velocity is all I can look at. And you can see the bright, bright reds next to the bright, bright greens. And that is the area of the tornado. That tornado has just moved through or very near the Salina area as it moves off to the east-northeast. Spin is still evident in this radar site. It's heading in the general direction of St. Mary's as well. So that's a very dangerous storm with a history of producing a tornado. Okay, so again, meteorologist Hutch Johnson with a quick look at what's going on. We covered snow in the Rockies. Go ahead and go back and look at this. Amazing amounts of snow, over 40 inches of snow in the mountains just off to the west of places like Denver, Boulder, and Cheyenne, Wyoming, picking up a fair amount of snow as well. While we have severe weather through the Central Plains, a very active day weather-wise across the nation. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, give me a thumbs up. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel right here. Don't forget the dingle bell to get notifications. Until next time, I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe and stay informed.